Really quick, before we get into the video, I should mention if you haven't already seen Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper, you might not understand some of the things that I talk about during my analysis. I would recommend you watch that movie first before you come and watch this video. So yeah, I am sitting on my backpack on my bedroom floor with awful lighting because there's nowhere to film in my house. So here we are. And I'm gonna just put on chapstick really quick because my lips are dry. Do y'all ever get like acrylics and it makes everything in your life 10 times harder? Well, I just got mine filled because I love the aesthetic. 10 times harder! Hi, welcome to Emma's Struggles to Closer Chapstick. Today's video has a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of notes. So this is gonna be a doozy. Yes, I am way too old to have seen every single Barbie movie. I watched every single one released last year just for kicks and giggles. And here we are now, as I am reviewing my favorite Barbie movie. Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper. And, okay, hear me out. This movie is very much ahead of its time. It's reminiscent of the Disney Renaissance, but it's also very modern and almost feels like a Broadway musical in an animated movie. It is one of the better animated musicals I've heard, score-wise, and it's actually really good. And just a disclaimer, I've never actually read The Prince and the Pauper, which is the source material of this movie, so I can't really judge it as an adaptation, but I can judge it as a standalone film and as like a musical film, if that makes sense. So let's get her started. First, I should mention that I loved this movie as a kid. I would watch this every time there was a long car ride. I watched that movie so many times. And I still watch that movie quite a bit because the songs in it are so good. But we'll touch on the songs later. So I am kind of biased. So my phone decided that I was out of storage and now I have these cute little 3 dots down here. Love that for me. Now that I'm older, I have found some things that I am not super jazzed about within this movie. For instance, the talking animals within it. As a kid, I loved them. I could care less about the princesses. I wanted to see the story with the talking animals. And now that I am no longer a child, I find them so annoying. Like, I don't really care about a dog with a golden tooth. I think it is the most annoying thing on the entire planet. So, yeah. But you can't really just get rid of them because they are used as a plot device to solve situations. So you can't get rid of them from the story. They're a crucial part of it. And honestly, I think that's kind of holding the movie back because it's relying too much upon the intelligence of these animals, which probably wouldn't be that smart in real life. I'm tired of children's media having obligatory talking animals, and overall I think the narrative of the movie would be much stronger without them to have the characters problem solve instead of relying on coincidences set up by the animals, if that makes sense. Along with that, Nick and Knack are also weak parts of the story. They are literally just the obligatory villain sidekick that has been seen in children's media during the early 2000s, which is when this was released. I really think that their role in the story really should have been Preminger's role in the story, and I felt like if Preminger himself had kidnapped Annalise, then that would make the overall narrative much stronger. I also think the prologue is kind of pointless because it's just Annalise narrating what we're going to see happen in the opening song, and I think that the overall narrative would be much stronger without it, because with it in, I feel like I'm getting bashed in the head with information I see clearly with the opening number. So those are my dislikes about the movie. Some things that I really enjoy, however, is the score. And I have quite a few things about the songs within it, so this section's gonna be a little long, I'm sorry. But let's start with the opening number. And even though the prologue is awful and really should not be within the movie, I think the opening number is brilliant. It's one of the better opening numbers within an animated movie musical. This song juxtaposes Annalise and Erica's lives brilliantly. Free really shows how Annalise has a very lavish and privileged life as the princess, but she does have her own problems as she is being forced into an arranged marriage. To contrast that, it shows that Erica, even though she's an indentured servant, she has more hope for her future because she sees a way out of her situation where Annalise doesn't. And I really think that this way of setting up the different characters' problems and motivations and showing how both of them are so similar because they just want to be free is brilliant. It tells you everything you need to know about the story with one song, which I think is very crucial in an opening number. Along those lines, I felt like the second song of the movie, How Could I Refuse, is a really great villain song. If you subtract Nick and Knack, who can't sing at all, the song itself is really strong, and it's a really great villain song because it sets up the motivations of the villain, first of all, and kind of cements him as a threatening figure within the storyline, and shows just how clever Preminger is as a person. So I really liked How Can I Refuse. And along those lines, How Can I Refuse Reprise is so much fun. And also, A Girl Like You, which is the most recognizable song from this entire movie, is still a banger to this day that me and my friends will just break out into song. It is that good. So, the score is just fantastic overall. Even in the scenes where there's no words, I really feel like the score adds like that suspense. Like one of my favorite songs without any of the words is when Annalise is turned away from the castle after she escapes like the house Preminger put her in. I love that song as she's driving to Madame Carp's. It is so good. This is kind of off topic, but Mattel tried to remake Barbie the Princess and the Pauper with Barbie the Princess and the Pop Star recently, a couple years ago, I think. And here's the problem with it. They took one of the best songs from the entire score, To Be a Princess, which is sang by Julian to teach Erica about being a princess, and turned it into a song where the frickin' prince, I forget their names, but the princess and the pop star just like redoing the same song but talking about being a princess and a pop star, and it doesn't feel like they're bonding at all in that movie. Whereas in The Princess and the Pauper, you really feel that Julian and Erica are bonding as friends. And also, don't try and remake a good thing. You're just gonna mess it up. I have many opinions on Barbie the Princess and the Pop Star, none of them good. Like, they literally just overprocess the girls' vocals, and it's stupid. Anyway, Madame Carp is such a fun villain to watch on the screen. She's such a caricature of what big business owners were like and how poorly that business owners treated their servants. I think she is such a caricature that she is such a fun villain to watch. Like, yes, the thing she's doing is horrible, but she makes it so darn fun to experience. I love Madame Carp, and I really want to see a movie where she's the main antagonist and not Preminger. Because while Preminger is a great villain, he's not as fun. He's just kind of kooky. But Madame Carp is just, she's a villain you love to hate. Moving on. This is something kind of small that I noticed, but they always manage to keep Erica in like blue in some way, which I think is a really nice touch because it helped me be able to tell Annalise and Erica apart in different scenes even as a kid. So I thought that was a really nice touch and was a really easy way to clarify the two characters from each other since they're supposed to look identical. Another thing I liked was, even though they had to rush the romance as the movie was only an hour and a half long, it never felt forced, just a little rushed. Annalise and Julian's friendship is already established once we watch the movie. They bring us into their friendship when Julian takes Annalise into town. We can see that Julian knows her better than anyone else, and we as an audience are like allowed to peer into this relationship, which really helps build it. And then Erica and Dominic's relationship was built during like a montage of scenes during If You Love Me for Me, which I also thought was effective, as the romance, while played a big part, wasn't the main focus of the film, so I felt like establishing it both already within the narrative and through a montage was an easy way to allow the audience to see how they interact as characters without really needing to say much. I felt like they allowed us to see this relationship quickly and effectively with the resources and time they were given. This is also off topic, but Dominic says skin really weird in If You Love Me for Me. Like, he's literally just like, truth lies underneath the skin. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Back on topic. I really do think that this movie was ahead of its time. And it's kind of a shame, because one way that this is very clear is within the animation of the movie itself. Now, this movie was made in 2004, and pretty much everything during this era looked kind of clunky and unnatural, which is really a shame, because I feel like more people, especially nowadays, would be interested in watching this movie if they had the technology available that we have now. And a perfect way to see this is recently I watched Barbie and the Starlight Princess, which came out not too long ago, and I felt like that movie's animation was breathtaking in some places. And I really think that if the people had access to the technology that we have now in 2004, more people would be interested in this film and would also find it just as fascinating as I do, because the animation actually turns people off from watching the movie, which is a shame, because this movie is brilliant. And now, for my favorite part in the whole entire film, it is the end. Julian and Annalise are gonna get married. King Dominic proposes to Erica. And what does Erica do? She tells him she's going to go live her dream of being a singer. And can I just say, way to show people that you do not let any person hold back your dreams. If they're really supportive of you, they will wait for you to be done living your life to get married or to move or to do whatever. I really think that this is an important lesson to teach people, as so many people throw away their lives for love, when in reality, if someone loves you, they'll be willing to wait for you, which I love. And also, it's kind of radical to have the girl tell the guy, hey, no, we're gonna wait until my thing's done and then we can totally get married. Especially when this movie, 1, takes place within like medieval times, and 2, is a Barbie movie made in 2004. Before this was Rapunzel was made, and Rapunzel was all like, ooh, does the prince like me? Ooh, does the prince like me? Like, this is such a shift, and I really think it's a shift for the better. Hang on. Let me get my bubbly. Sorry. Sparkling water time, I'm thirsty. The only bummer about the grapefruit flavor of bubbly is that you're hiccuping the flavor all day, and I get the hiccups a lot. So, those are my thoughts on Barbie, the Princess and the Pauper as a movie. I really think that it was ahead of its time, and it does so many things well that it's frustrating when some of the parts of the movie are lacking, such as with the talking animals and Nick and Knack in the prologue. But yeah, overall, I love this movie. I recommend it to anybody who likes like movie musicals or just likes the nostalgia of watching Barbie movies. This is one of my favorites. It will always be one of my favorites, and I really think that everybody should give this thing a watch.